Hey everybody, I think we live. It say we live. So y'all do me a favor. Y'all like this video, share this video, subscribe if you have not. Hit that notification bell, y'all. And y'all give me a second to make sure everything is working right and we get MX Network going, of course, and then we will get started, y'all. Okay. All right, I see me. That means y'all can see me too. Y'all can hear me okay? Y'all do me a favor, everybody. Send this video out and share it. I know we talk about a lot of stuff. We be in here with conspiracy theories and oohing and eyeing, but we got something serious to talk about. And we have a very wonderful guest tonight. And he deserves all the justice. Not that everybody doesn't, but I have known this brother for quite a while, and we definitely want to see him get his justice. And he's here to tell his story. So y'all share this out, okay? Let me get my people on MX Network going. Now, remember, you guys, if you do not want to watch the commercials, I know you guys are over here on YouTube and y'all got commercials going and everything. If you don't want to watch some commercials, then you can come over to MX Network, okay? You can find the link. If you don't already have a subscription, you can find the link to that in the description of the YouTube video, you guys. You can come over, and with your free subscription, although you can get a paid one if you love your girl. So the news is back. We will have news tomorrow, the week in review, and next well, not next Friday because we passed Friday, but Friday coming up, you guys, we will actually have the first episode of Unjust. But you got to be on MX Network to watch that. That will not be over here at all. We also have a live coming up this week. I haven't decided whether it's going to be Monday or Tuesday, but we are actually going to have a conversation and look at some receipts. And we're going to talk about it, MK Ultra, you guys. Okay, we're going to also talk about when the government has actually used fog before in San Francisco, that wasn't really fog, and it made a lot of people sick, right? Because I always say, when we say, oh my God, you conspiracy theorists, the government would never do that. Like, I could just show you where they've done it before. So to say they never will, they already have. Okay, but we are not having that conversation over here on YouTube at all. Probably just saying what I said is going to turn this video yellow. Meaning you don't get full monetization. So that's going to be on MX Network too. So y'all want to make sure you have your subscription so that you do not miss this stuff. Now, there's a paid subscription that there's a whole lot that you can watch with that you can't watch with the free one. These lives are free while they are live with your free subscription, and they're free for 24 hours. After that, it goes into the paid subscription. So if you missed it or you want to go back and watch it, you come in late, you have 24 hours to do that. And then it goes over to all of the, dope people who actually support and subscribe to the network, okay? But you do not have to watch these commercials, okay? So if you're on YouTube and you don't want to watch these commercials, then come on over to MX Network, okay? So the link to all of that is in the description of this video. I want to also really quickly give a shout out to everybody on the live that we had. Oh God, it was just the other night, wasn't it? And we was up till, God dang, 4, 5 in the morning. I don't know, but it was 5.5 hours. But it was a good live. And I want to again thank everybody that was there. We had over 1,000 people watching the whole entire time. Y'all was up with us. So shout out to everybody that tuned in and everybody that came up and, had the conversation with us. So that's like the second time I've done one of those, but you guys seem to like being able to have a voice and speak and give y'all opinion. And so we're going to do that again. But next time we won't do it on a weekday. We will wait till the weekend. So we'll probably be doing that on Saturdays. But I'm going to try and do it at least twice a month, right? I ain't going to promise you every Saturday because I would be lying to y'all because I get busy and I do a lot of other stuff than just being here on, YouTube or MX Network. And so we are definitely going to do that and have more shows so that we can talk and we can interact and figure out what's going on and be a support to each other. If you watch that show, we had a lot of conversations, some really great people who gave some knowledge and brought some wisdom that I don't necessarily have. We got some insight from some people, that were in the California area, some people that was in the military for a very long time and served and could give us some, some pointers on how to be prepared to survive. And then we had a sister who was in need of some help. And I love to say that we found her some help, right, in a whole lot of ways. And so, again, we always talk about coming together in Black unity, but if we couldn't come together and just help one sister in need, then we just all need to shut up and hang it up, right? But that did not happen. We actually helped that sister. And so we're going to do more of those shows. Okay. So everybody seems to like it. So we are going to continue to do that again. There were 2 people I did not get to shout out. I did not see it until after I got off. And I want to say shout out to Black Mama. And I want to say shout out to a sister, Shalia. They sent cash apps and I did not see them until after we got off. Black Mama has been a supporter for a very, very, very long time. I don't know when I haven't seen her name. And so I just want to give that shout out and tell y'all thank you for as much as we shouted everybody out that, you know, we saw that gave that night. I did not see those. So I do want to say that. And shout out to Walter on MX Network, already giving. Walter's always giving over here on MX Network. So shout out to him. And thank you to everybody that's over here on MX watching. So you guys, we're going to get into this conversation. Y'all make sure y'all share this video. I'm going to keep it real honest and real with y'all. Like when we do these type of videos and I talk about the things that matters, because it's not sensational. If I'm not talking about immigrants, not that doesn't matter. If I'm not talking about, you know, something that seems to be like, oh, what is the fog? All of this sensationalized stuff. These things are important, but these are the type of videos that people don't always give their attention to. Now we talk about how we need so much change and we need things to be different for us. But I find oftentimes when solutions are there, like if I do a video tomorrow and it's titled Solutions for the Black Community, do you know that will be the least viewed video on my page? So we got to stop that shit, okay? Either y'all want to do some shit and you want it to change, or either you don't. And I will tell you, for as long as I've been doing this, I think that's one of the saddest parts, is that the shows that matter and the stuff that we really should be able to see and focus on, that's the stuff that people really don't tune in for. You know, it blows my mind, but we love to be entertained. We love to, you know, listen to all the shit that's sensationalized. We love all of the stuff that is in the news and the immediate news, because to us, we think that that's what we should be focusing on. But I want y'all to understand there is a lot going on right now, a lot. Right? Other than the fires in California, the inauguration is getting ready to come up. The immigrants is running and hiding. Some of them is deporting their damn selves and getting up out of here before ICE come and get them. But other than that, there are people that are struggling every day. There are still injustices happening every single day. Some of you might be dealing with some stuff right now. So let's not act like that's all that's going on in the world. This is important to the Black community. So I will give y'all a quick synopsis of what's happened in this case. We are going to watch a news clip, and then we're going to bring this brother up and we're going to talk to D'Monterrio ourselves, okay, about his situation. But this happened a couple of years ago. This brother is in Mississippi. I know one of you guys said, you know, I thought Jacksonville was mostly Black. Well, he was delivering in Brookhaven, I believe it was. He can correct me when he comes up here if I am wrong. And he was a FedEx driver, and he went to go and deliver some packages. And these white men, a father and a son, decided they were going to come out and start to shoot it at him. They actually stood in the road with their gun and tried to stop his truck, kind of like Ahmaud Arbery shit, right? And he went around them. They got in the car and chased him, but they shot at him. There were bullets in the car and packages and everything else. And, you know, one thing that I'm not sure how much D'Monterrio can say, I want to say this before I bring him up here. You know, he has found a new attorney, and we're grateful for that, because the fight is not over. But in that, when you find a new attorney, I deal with these cases all of the time, and a lot of these families, there's only so much that he can say right now, right? There's only so much that he can do. You want to let the attorney do their job, and when they're ready to put more pressure and they need the public to do that, they will let us know, right? But right now they're assessing the situation, and what we ultimately want is for him to get his justice, and we want him to get his check as well, right? We definitely want him to get his check, because he deserves it in all that he has been through. This has been a very rough ordeal for him, and that is one thing that I hope that he will share you know, with everybody, is how this has affected him. We hear about Black people and Black men especially all the time who deal with trauma like this. And we think, oh, well, we just all from the hood, so being shot at or trauma should be something that rolls off your back. But that's not true. This stuff traumatizes our people. And so I hope that he's willing to share some of that with you, how this has affected him emotionally and really, you know, been hard for him in that way. But again, I want to point out before we get into this story, because as the Unjust series unfolds next week on MX Network, I want you guys to keep in mind that in a lot of these cases, especially in Mississippi and in Alabama, and not to say it doesn't happen other places, but it's really, really, really rampant in those two places where you're going to find that the police department and a lot of other people, they are related or they are either a part of white supremacist organizations. Everybody from the person at the top, from governors to mayors to police chiefs, all the way down to, the smallest person you think in these places, these towns, right? Or these cities, they are all related to each other, or they are either in brotherhood because they are in these racist organizations together. Okay. This is a fact. This is not something that is long ago. This is not 50 years ago. This is today. Okay. And so they get away with all of this stuff. There's a lot of people that will actually fight to keep them from paying the price that they actually should be paying. And a lot of this seems to be unfolding in this situation as well. When we went down there to go and see D'Monterrio in the very beginning, we went as media. We went to go to the house where he actually was delivering so we could show y'all the location. And these men live across the street, the father and son. And so as soon as they see us coming, we had to go with brothers from the community. They came with their firearms, Black Panthers and things like that, to walk with us in D'Monterrio for our protection. But we weren't there but probably about 5 minutes, and the police was riding all up and down the street. They had threatened to arrest his mother back then. They were trying to find charges on anybody that was outside, telling us we need permits for a protest. We weren't protesting. We just walking down the street getting some news information. But they went out of their way, I promise you, to harass the victims. Okay. And the people trying to help him, it's like they sent the police to be their protection. They the ones out here shooting at people and committing crimes. Like, I don't care what color you are. What sense do it make for you to go outside and just start willy-nilly shooting at somebody and then get in your car and chase somebody to the freeway and you shooting in a truck? The man clearly has on a FedEx uniform. Their excuse was they thought he was stealing a neighbor's package. You gonna kill somebody over that? Right? And the police, every time we've had to go there and we've had to deal with this situation, the police always come and show up and protect the criminals, and they act like we're in the wrong, and they be itching to find a reason to throw us all in jail. This happens time and time again, not just with his case, with all of those cases. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. White supremacy is very rampant in this country, but it is very much rampant and alive, baby, in the South. I just want y'all to remember that, okay? These are the places like the young man who was and I saw a video, let me say this. I saw a video from King Randall. How many of y'all know who King Randall is, right? He runs the school, those ex-school for boys. Now, I commend that young brother, and I appreciate everything that he is doing for the community. I don't have an art with him or anything, and I think what he is doing is an amazing thing, right? But I saw this video that he did the other day. He had got pulled over by the police. He had his passenger put up their camera, and he said, I got pulled over by a white police officer, and this is what happened. And then he's all being theatrical. Then the man writes him for a citation. He says, yes, I was speeding. He takes his ticket and he drives on. And he's like, see, that's what happens. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. And all that he do, that video pissed me off. And I'm going to tell you why it pissed me off. Because we do know that most people that get pulled over by the police, no matter what race they are, if they're due a ticket, they just get a ticket and they kind of just go home. Yeah, that's how that works. But to me, it was a disrespect and a disregard to people like Glenn Foster Jr., whose story we're going to tell on Unjust. Glenn Foster Jr. was an ex-NFL player. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He should have got a speeding ticket too. But instead, the police beat him out of his car, took him to the police station, and then unalived him in the police station and lied to his parents about it. Here we are 2 years later. They still ain't gave the footage of what happened to him in there, okay? Or let's talk about the black boy who wasn't even in his car driving. We all saw it with our own eyes. He was on the side of the road changing a flat tire. The officer came over. The lady said, where is your, can I see your ID? First of all, he's not doing anything wrong for you to ask for his driver's license. Was he combative with her? No, he was not. And she pulled him up. She threw him on the hood of the car. She tased him till she made the boy cry. Then she tells him, oh, yeah, I got you now because he had a gun. Then they charged him with a bunch of false charges. They said that he was drug trafficking, that he had a gun, and he was an ex-felon. None of that was true. None of it. We watched it with our own eyes. So I hate when a nigga like King Randall bring your ass up there just because you know how many black people actually get pulled over by the police and get a ticket every day and go home? Nigga, we didn't say that don't happen. But what you're doing is a disservice to all of the black people who actually get pulled over, and they are cooperative. They haven't really done anything, and police take advantage of that, and they unalive them or they brutalize them in ways that they should not. And so when we're out there fighting, those are the cases we're fighting for. So it seemed a bit disrespectful for that nigga, for as much as he do for them boys in his school, to get up there and kind of make a joke like, oh, ho, ho, ho. You know how many cases I've dealt with that people weren't doing anything? I'm going to introduce you to a case of 2 black men who were sleeping in their house. And 5 racist officers got off work and texted each other and said, you ready to go get a nigga? And they broke into this house, beat them, sodomized them, and shot one in the face. And he lived to tell his story. So please miss me with that bullshit of, oh, this is all you got to do and you'll just be fine. Somebody please tell that nigga King Randall that we're not out here marching for those stories that he just got pulled over and everything was fine. We're out here fighting for the stories of the people who get pulled over, and it should just be a ticket, and it doesn't work out fine. And every black person that gets fucked up by the police is not fighting and being disrespectful and escalating the situation either. So I just didn't like how he tried to minimize the issues that we have in the brutality with police officers. That shit was disrespectful, and he could have kept that shit to himself. For as much as he do for black boys, I thought that one was a bit coonish, a bit much, okay? So, again, we're going to tell it like it is on either damn side. He does great work in the community, but bruh, stop that fucking cooning, okay? King Randall, you could have kept that video, because I work with families all the time who their loved ones did not make it out because of the police. The story next week is about a young man, and he was 14 years old. He actually went to the state fair, and at the state fair, his friends were targeted by the police and told they had to get out. They were being apprehended. He just walked over. He was with a group of friends, had got dropped off by somebody's mom. And he said, hey, them is my friends. I'm with them. What's going on? The police said, oh, you're with them? They took this boy and they said, we're going to kick you out of the fairgrounds. They didn't let him call his parent. They didn't take him to a safe place. And they took him, the police that's supposed to serve and protect, they took him across the freeway to a whole nother exit and kicked him out of the fair. He says, well, I got to be back to the door where the lady is supposed to pick me up at. So he goes to try and get in the door where he's at. They tell him, no, he has to go to the other side. He had to cross a freeway to get there. There was no other way for him to get there. And he got hit while he was on that freeway. Who the fuck takes the 14-year-old child and your police officers and you take him across the freeway knowing he has no way to get back to where he needs to go unless he crosses back over that freeway instead of calling his parents or detaining him somewhere at the fair until their ride shows up? This is the shit that we're fighting every day. So motherfuckers like that video Randall made, he can miss me with that bullshit, because there are plenty of times that police are the cause of why our people's lives are taken, and nobody has done anything wrong to them. They have just been assholes and are on a power trip and overuse their authority. The same thing you saw they did to Robert Brooks in that prison is the same thing that they do on the outside to our people as well. Just like Robert Brooks didn't do anything, and you see them beating him down to death until he's dead, and you didn't see him fight back one bit. We gonna stop acting like all of these things are justified because a nigga be escalating traffic stops. So that shit was just real disrespectful. Somebody tell King Randall he's doing a great job with them kids, but as far as I'm concerned with that video, bro, you can kiss our black ass, okay? So with that said, y'all, I want to show y'all a news clip of this story, and then we're going to bring D up and we're going to have a conversation with. We're going to let him tell his story, okay? So let me share this with y'all. Y'all do me a favor, like this video, share this video. Let's get some more folks in here, because this is important, right? And we need to see how this really affects a brother. Oftentimes we watch the news and it's the story and it bothers you, and then you go on about your life and then you forget about it, and then it's another story, right? And you don't think about that person. I want y'all to look this young man in his face today. I want you to see the amazing person that D'Monterrio is. I want you to hear how this has affected his life and how unjust it is, so that you can continue to carry this story with you, so that when we do tell you we need some help from the public and there are things we need from y'all, that you attach yourself to this, that he's a human being and that this has fucked his life up, and it is more than just a news story, okay? So share this video, you guys, so that we can get some more folks in here, okay? I should have put, a sensational title like "Bitch Your Mama." That title would have brought more people in here than the title that's in there, and that's a damn shame. I'm gonna do an experiment, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all. My next live gonna be titled "Bitch Your Mama," and watch how many people come up in here. All right, y'all. Let me play this news video.
Devastated and a slap in the face. That's how D'Monterrio Gibson describes how he feels after finding out his case was dismissed. The former FedEx driver says a father and son shot at him while he delivered a package in their Brookhaven neighborhood nearly 3 years ago. Our Quentin Smith speaks with Gibson, who tells us why he thinks his case was dismissed.
Gibson believes investigators with the police department nor the DA's office had his best interest in mind when it comes to presenting this case. An investigator is accused of not turning over all of the evidence in his case file. And although this case has now been dismissed, Gibson says the two men who shot at him are still guilty of all of the charges being brought against them.
They probably sleep peacefully at night. I don't. I'm on 2 different medications. I constantly have panic attacks. I stress daily. I'm seeing a psychiatrist I'm seeing a therapist and a psychiatrist. Like, my life is terrible because of this situation.
Gibson still upset and still demanding that Gregory Case and his son Brandon be held responsible for shooting at him while he delivered a package in their Brookhaven neighborhood in January of 2022. The father and son were charged with attempted murder, conspiracy, and shooting into an occupied vehicle. Those charges, just like this case, now dismissed. A judge ruled that Detective Vincent Fernando, who's with the Brookhaven Police Department, purposely withheld evidence by not turning over an interview he did with Gibson.
A lot of people think that the case being dismissed means those guys weren't guilty, but it was dismissed due to a technicality, not saying that they weren't guilty. Even their lawyers admitted that they did the crime. They only provided excuses as to why they did it.
While he does admit Fernando should have turned in the evidence, Gibson believes others are also to blame for this outcome.
When we went to court, they kept asking him why was he withholding evidence, and he told them, hey, I gave them everything I had. Other people in the department didn't give me everything, so if they didn't give it to me, I can't give it to y'all. You understand what I'm saying? So now they trying to make him out to be the scapegoat as if he just did this all on his own. No.
The case is now being dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot come back up again. However, Gibson says he's not giving up in his fight for justice.
If I was one of their sons, if I was the judge's son, if I was the DA's son, if I was Brandon or Gregory's son, they would feel completely different about this situation. But the fact that I'm not, the fact that they don't know me, they don't care. They don't relate.
Gibson is now hoping police will bring new and different charges against the father and son. In the meantime, he says he's continuing on with the civil lawsuits in this case. Quentin Smith, 3 on your side.
So y'all, somebody brought up that they dismissed with prejudice, meaning that they can't try it again. So maybe we need to go for different charges. You can't bring those specific charges. But we're going to talk to D about that. And if you guys have some questions for what he can answer, again, I know he has an attorney. We will bring him up. Somebody asked me in the chat, they said what I think about Tatum. I would tell you, G. Birch, that I don't like Tatum. Sometimes he gets it right, but most of the time he's just making a mockery of Black people and their injustices. He agrees with the police every single time, and there has to be some balance. He seems to not have any balance. Everything the police is right and everybody else is wrong. I was looking at your thumbnail. I don't know if you're a Black person. So if you're not, let me tell you that in our community, we would call him a coon. he's constantly going against Black people, even when he knows that the officers are in the wrong. So that's my problem with him. There's another officer on here. His name is Nathan Daly, the real Nathan Daly. I think Nathan is much more fair in his assessment, right? If the police are wrong, he's going to say they're wrong. I've never seen Tatum ever say the police are wrong. He's very biased. So I don't like him at all. But with that said, you guys, I'm going to bring up D, and we're going to have this conversation with the person who this has affected the most. Hey, D, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Meet you. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Everybody, this is D'Monterrio. This is y'all first time, seeing him in here, but I've known D ever since the beginning of this happening. And I just want to say, D, that I know this is taking a big toll on you, but I'm proud of you. I really am, and keep fighting. And I imagine fighting is what helps you to kind of get through it. Like, to just lay down and let it go is just not the answer for you. And I'm proud of you for that.
Yeah,
so
as well.
Yeah. So let me ask you for the audience, like, let's talk to them like this is their first time ever hearing about this. If you can, take me back to that day and just kind of tell me what happened on that day from your perspective, and just kind of how it made you feel. Tell us about that day, and then what was it like that night to go home? How did that make you feel trying to lay down and go to sleep after all the things that had just happened to you?
All right, so I'm gonna give like a quick breakdown of what happened. It was really just like a normal day at work and stuff like that for me. So we basically just come in the morning, scan our boxes, and then we get on our truck and go on our route. So we had these things what we call the late starters, and that's what we were. We were the late starters. So basically, we would leave after everybody else. We would have to go, maybe an hour or so away, do a few country cities, and then come back. So we had this work device called a Leo, which is what we use to scan all our packages and stuff in. And it had like a maps system on it, but it wasn't up and running at the time. So we had to use our phones. When you use your phone, you got to type everything in manually and stuff. So sometimes you'll make a mistake and type the wrong address in. So that's like what happened that day. We had. I'm gonna just tell you a little bit about my route. We had I had to serve Brookhaven and the city called Boca Chico, and I had to do like priority 4 p.m., 8 p.m. type thing. So when we do the businesses, which is like the priority, we do all of those in the morning before 12. What I used to do is I go through Brookhaven since I'm hitting that first, do all those businesses, then go through Boca Chico when I'm doing next, do all those businesses. And so when I was in Boca Chico, I think I done with the businesses. I was like, I might well finish the residences, so I don't have to come back. So it was like my second time going to that neighborhood. I pulled up on this street around like 7:20. All these happened like within a minute of 5 to 10 minutes type thing. Pull up on the street like 7:20. I'm looking for the address. I think the address was 117 Junior Trail, but I typed in my GPS 217 Junior Trail. So as I'm going down the street, I'm looking for the address. I don't see it. I get ready to turn around and stuff like this. And as I'm preparing to leave the street, because we can bring packages back, it's no issue. I could have figured out like what it was the next day. When I'm getting ready to leave the street, I look to my left and I see a mailbox with 117 Junior Trail on there. So I'm like, maybe that's the right address. So I check my my Leo, the work device, and it basically confirmed that was the correct address. So all of this took like maybe like 30 seconds. Like the next part of the story I'm about to explain took about 30 seconds. So I drive into the street. It's like a small strip of road with two houses on it, two houses on the same plot of land. If a lot of people don't know, like in the country, a lot of people who have family, they stay on the same land. So it was something like that. I pull onto the small strip, I get out, drop the package off, click my next stop, and I'm getting ready to leave. And I see a white pickup truck approaching me from the other house on the same plot of land. So I'm thinking he just leaving and stuff like that. So I get ready to try to get out of his way because it's only one car at a time. As I'm preparing to leave, he swerved like around me, trying to block me off. Like he swerved through trash cans and everything, trying to block me off. And my instincts instantly kick in and I swerve around him. Now, as I'm driving down the road, I'm not thinking about, what's going on. I'm just moving. As I'm going down the road, I go down about 2 or 3 houses and it's another gentleman in the middle of the road pointing a gun at my vehicle, like straight through the window. And he trying to get me to stop. And he like, stop. So I'm like, no, and I hide behind the steering wheel and I swerve around him as well. And he started firing shots into the back of my van and stuff like that. And as I'm leaving the street, I see the truck still chasing me, but one of my bosses called me and she can actually hear the shots going off and things of that nature. she was supposed to be like, you know, a witness in the case that they just dismissed, but we didn't get to make it that far. So, but she heard some of the shots going off, and I was telling her like they shooting at me, and she was like, they shooting at you, and I'm like, yes, they shooting at me. And she was just like, just hurry up and try to make it back to the station as fast as you can, and stuff like that. Cool. On my way back to the station, still this car still behind me, chasing me. Everything was in my favor though, cause like I had nothing but right turns, and I'm just like every red light was turning green.
So
it's
they're
like
chasing you even after you left.
After they shot at me, they had chased me and stuff like that. So
they chased you all the way to the freeway, right?
All the way to the freeway, and then I got down about 10 or 15 minutes. I called my boss. I tell him what happened and stuff like that. You know, he didn't really show a sense of urgency. He was just like, "We'll go to the police station in the morning." I was just like, "No, you know what I'm saying? If I wait till in the morning, these people gonna be like, this wasn't real type thing." So I as I'm driving down like the road, I'm going through different cities because I'm going back to Jackson on the highway or whatever. So I had to, like, when I first called the police department, I wasn't connected to Brookhaven Police Department. I was connected to different stations, and they finally connected me back to Brookhaven Police Department. So once I got a chance to talk to the operator, I had I tried to report what happened to me. I had told him that these guys had shot at me, and I was just trying to, like, you know, deliver a package. So he was like, "They shot at you," and I was like, "Yes, sir." He was like, "Were you in this neighborhood right here?" And he said, you know, 117 Junior Trail. I was like, "Yes, sir. That's why I was delivering the package to." And he was like, "Well, we just got a report of a suspicious person from 2 guys that stay over here." And I'm like, I'm like, I'm not a suspicious person. I work for FedEx. I was just doing my job and things of that nature. So I get to I think I get to telling him more of the story. And I'm gonna just skip some stuff just for the sake of time though. But essentially he tell me that come in tomorrow. My supervisor not here. We're handling it tomorrow. So I go back to the station. I had to file a report. Then they took pictures of the van. They had bullet holes all inside the van, bullet holes all inside the packages that was like right directly behind me. It was like, you know, by the grace of God, we had found like one little bullet still on the back of the van. I don't know how I made it from Brookhaven all the way to Jackson, but it did. And like the next day after that, I had to go in and file a police report and stuff like that. So I had to talk to 3 different officers. The first officer, he kept changing my story. Every time I tell him what happened here, but like, so this happened, I'd be like, no. And he did this like 3 or 4 times. It was a second officer in there just watching us talk and stuff like that. And he had said, "I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Did you do anything to make them shoot at you?" And I'm like, you know, like that, yeah, this the same type of face I made. I'm like, nah, like I feel disrespected, but I was like, no, sir. I was just doing my job. But
you had on a FedEx uniform and everything, right?
Yeah, big old jacket, a reflective jacket with the, you know, they got the words, they reflect and everything. They keep saying it was an unmarked van. The van was not unmarked. It was a Hertz van. It wasn't a FedEx vehicle, but it was a Hertz van. It had big Hertz letter on it. I want to keep, because people keep saying it and spreading that misinformation, but no, it was not unmarked. It shouldn't have looked suspicious. You say Hertz van, you know that's a company and stuff like that. But the third officer I dealt with was Vincent Fernando, and he basically took me to the room, the interrogation room, to write my statement and stuff like that. And for some reason, he didn't turn the video in of me writing that statement, and that's what got my case thrown out. But they tried to put me back on the same route right after that, and I delivered one package. I went to this business. It was it don't even really matter what.
So wait a minute. So just so the audience gets this, so after all this happens, you go home, and the next day, right, you go to work, and they try to put you right back to work and send you to the same area in Brookhaven where you were and got shot at. They just tried to send you right back out there.
Yeah, but then after that, like I had called my boss on that first stop, and I was just like, I can't do it. I started having a panic attack and stuff like that, which I got like real bad anxiety and stuff. Now I always have panic attacks, but I started having a panic attack, and she was like, "You sure you can't do it?" And I was like, "Nah, I can't do it." She told me to come back to the station, so they tried to give me like 2 weeks off without pay or something like that. It ended up making like national news, and they was asking me like what was going on with the job and how they was treating me. So I told the truth, and then they ended up like, you know, starting to like do things the right way. So that's basically like a little summary of what happened that night and things of that nature. The first night, if you want to know how I felt though, cause I do remember you asking me that, like I didn't feel like nothing at first. I was just like, it felt like I wasn't in my body or something. Like I was just thinking like, did it really happen or something? It was like a numbness. I ain't feel nothing. It was like, it wasn't until that second day when they tried to put me back on the route when I had the panic attack that I had started feeling everything.
Can you tell everybody, like, I think that sometimes we think I think our society and even our people think that like Black people, we from the hood. I know you in Jacksonville, that's where you live and stuff. And so like they think, oh, we should be used to this kind of stuff. But like, talk to me a little bit about how somebody shooting at you and trying to take your life and chasing you down like some shit you see in a movie. Once you even got away from that, you still in the car trying to drive with some sense while somebody is chasing you and you think they're coming to take your life. Talk to me about how that has affected you.
I will say this because, like I said, the case has been in corrupted hands and things of that nature. So when they first found out about this, they were trying to find all type of dirt on me, see if I had a record. They were saying lies about me, telling me I was trying to steal the package and everything. And they couldn't find it because I don't got nothing on me. Like I unfortunately, even though I am from Jackson, unfortunately for them, I'm not a thug. I'm not one of those guys and stuff like that. I like to go to the library. I like to read books. I like to do things that I like to expand my mind. But it's kind of funny because I was doing exactly what they tell us to do. Hey, go to work hard. You'll be okay in America. Most black people lazy. Don't be like that. So when you go to a job and and I'm not saying I was doing it for them, but when you go to a job and you're doing everything they tell you to do, and then you still get attacked, what's the excuse then?
Yeah, I want to say that to everybody, and I mean, I think that everybody that go through an injustice, they deserve their justice. But like, I think that you are like a very sweet guy. You are very intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you go to the library. You're very talented. He's very quiet. Soft spoken. He's a black man, and black man doesn't always equate to like thug. And so when I look at you, it makes me angry because I do know the scenario they tried to play. And to go to the police for help and then for them to come at you like you got to be some kind of criminal or thug or what did you do? Like that angered me because in knowing you, that is so far from who you are. But the color of your skin made you that to everybody. But that is not who you are at all.
Yeah, I agree. And it's kind of crazy that you say that though, because not one time did they treat me like a victim. They treated me like the suspect and stuff like that. Before we even came to the town, the police chief Kenneth Collins was threatening and saying what he was going to do to us if we came down there. When we came down there to protest, they gave the guys who shot at me security. What about my security? I ain't shoot at them. They shot at. So who needs security? They good. Then when we went to the street to get footage, like Michi said earlier, they tried to come like it was a big standoff with the police. They called the patrolman in and all type of stuff. It's just like and then like the police chief like just never once addressed me. I looked this man in his face. I asked him, I was like, why aren't y'all arresting those guys? Like, why y'all treat me like this? This man did not look at me. He didn't talk to me. He didn't acknowledge me or nothing. And it's just crazy.
Talk to me a little bit about, for as much as you can, talk to me about the connection and the corruption that we have found out just in this case in the beginning, for as much as you can say. I know you have a new attorney or whatever, but can we talk about that a little bit? The connection with the man and his son who shot at you, the police department, like you said, the way they're treating you, they're protecting them. And I think there's a deeper reason when we've looked at your case of why they're doing that, right? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I want to bring up a very important point before I do say that though. Like Michi said, they are protecting them. So I propose you this question, Michi. What benefit would I have as the victim for the DA's office or the police department to intentionally withhold evidence? How would they help me? Think about that. So as we continue though, but I could talk about all of it. So basically, when the case first happened and stuff like that, like when I called the night I had called, the reason why they really didn't want to arrest those guys because they knew who they were. They never went to arrest these guys. By the way, the police chief said he was scared to arrest them, so they gave them 8 days to turn themselves in. And even after that, they only spent like an hour in jail. You remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even go arrest them. They said, well, you guys got a week. Come turn yourself in when you're ready. Get your affairs in order. Yeah.
Gave them time to hide all the evidence and stuff like that. And that's because they had relatives in the police department. They had Chris Case. He was I believe he was actually Detective Chris Case, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was actually over the case originally, but he didn't want to touch it because he knew who they were. So they gave it to Vincent Fernando, which is the fall guy, just so y'all know, but he did play a role as well. They had Clint Earl, he is married into their family so he's an in-law to them, and he was the assistant police chief at the time under Kenneth Collins. So Clint Earl, Kenneth Collins, and I'm sorry, I just said his name. Clint Earl, Kenneth Collins, and Chris Case. That's what it was. So those guys were related to them, and they started like basically messing up evidence for the case from day one. They first of all, let me say this. They even after those guys got arrested, when they turned themselves in, we had to protest in Brookhaven for 9 months straight before they even thought about like actually taking action. They were trying to antagonize us and scare us out of Brookhaven. They wanted us. They didn't indict those guys until this happened January 24th, 2022. They didn't indict them until December of 2022. So it took 9 months of protesting for them to even raise the charges. I had to go in and talk to a jury and everything and let them know like what really happened. And that's who decided to raise the charges and stuff.
Do you think it's fair to say, because I want everybody to know, even though they gave them 8 days to turn themselves in, they did, and then they ended up making bond and getting right back out. But even in doing that, they weren't trying to really bring them up on any charges. They was kind of just trying to let it go. And if it really wasn't for the protesting and the pressure and going in there and showing up, I remember there were people, the brothers were showing up and they was closing the buildings, talking about ain't nobody here, we closed. These is y'all public hours. They didn't want to let them in. And it was the pressure of the community. So I do want to make that point to everybody that in cases like this, putting pressure on them in the community standing, and it takes more than a day of being mad. It takes more than a week of looking at somebody's situation and, thinking, oh, well, let's just go make a little noise. You got to really walk with these people and you got to really keep your foot on their necks, because it did make a difference. And if the community had not showed up for D, and this was from everywhere, everybody's not from Mississippi. People was coming in from everywhere. Some months it'd be different people. This month, somebody else would be there. But it was constant people coming to support and letting them know y'all not going to get away with this. And he's not by himself. And that is really the reason why they even got brought up on the charges. And I think that's why we also see now, it was like, okay, we'll get the people what they want. But I think they had this plan all along in mind to say, well, we just got another plan to make sure that they don't go to jail, which, brings us to where we're at with this dismissal. So talk to us about that. So they did get brought up on charges, you guys were in court, and then all of a sudden they dismissed the case, and talk about why they dismissed it.
I'm gonna start here. So we actually did go to trial and stuff like that in August of 2023. After 3 days of trials and stuff like that, and them bringing in witnesses, I was actually the next witness to come up before the case got mistrial. They got mistrial before it got dismissed. So it got mistrial in August of 2023. We had like some type of court date. Oh, it got mistrialed due to the video of me writing my statement not being turned in by Officer Vincent Fernando. But from my understanding, he really believed that he turned it in. So I'm not sure what happened.
I want to be clear with everybody so y'all understand this from a legal point of view. They dismissed this case because they said that evidence was withheld. Now, intentionally, but the piece of evidence that was withheld was D'Monterrio's statement. That's it. But he was getting ready to get on the stand. So I want you to think, even in the piece of information, the evidence that was withheld, that evidence was not as pertinent as they make it seem, because D was about to get on the stand and tell his whole story. So the evidence they left out, it wasn't like the smoking gun. It wasn't like, something that deep. It was D'Monterrio's statement. That's what they did not, the video of that they did not give, and that it was withheld on purpose is what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
Now, the officer who withheld it, that was a black man, right? And he said they didn't give it to him.
No, he was like Indian or something like that. Yeah, he was like Indian. He had like a real heavy accent.
Now, what did he say when they said that he withheld it purposely? What was his response?
So I don't know what was his response when they said he did it purposely, but in court, when they was questioning him, like I said, we had a second trial about whether they was going to dismiss the case. And I want to put this out there before I continue. Their lawyers kept trying to get a mistrial on the case because they knew if I got on the stand, it was going to be OV. It was no way those guys, they lawyers never even said, hey, these guys didn't do it. They came up with two excuses. It was the first one you said, which is that I was still in the package, and then the second one was that they was trying to help me. And I'm like, the judge don't even hear it, like how I couldn't say nothing because technically it's them versus the state. I'm just a witness, so I couldn't speak up on it. But like, I don't know how the judge didn't see that and stuff. But we had another trial. They kept trying to get a mistrial, and I bring it up. I'm gonna come back around to it. After they ended up getting a mistrial, we had another court date to decide whether they was going to dismiss it because they kept trying to get it thrown out. So whether they was going to dismiss it or continue. This was like in October 2024. The judge said, no, we're gonna continue with the case and stuff like that. And they was telling all type of lies on me up in there too, Nietzsche. Like they was saying that I was talking about them on social media. They was saying all type of stuff. The DA did not defend me once. The only thing I seen the DA do was attack his own key witness, which was Vincent Fernando. Very odd for a DA to attack his own key witness. I don't know about that, about y'all, but it's odd to me. But after that, they said we were going to continue the case, and then I'm just waiting on the case date to see when it's going to start back up. They say probably springtime, and January 6th come, which is like a week ago, and they call me. They're like, yeah, so the case been dismissed. And I'm like, huh? Like, what, the judge changed his mind? He just woke up out the bed and changed his mind? Like, what was the conversation had? Or what happened? The DA say, we don't know what happened, so we don't know what to tell you. This what they told me.
And that's crazy because they dismissed it because of that piece of evidence. And like you said, they weren't stating that they didn't do what they did. They just said, well, we did it because we thought he was still in the package. Well, we did it because of this reason. But it is against the law to just come outside and start shooting at somebody when your life is not in danger or nobody else's life is in danger. I want you to understand that even if you were stealing a package, that is not a lawful reason to shoot someone. Even if that was true. So I think it's really crazy that they never said we didn't do it. They just thought that justified it. Well, we thought he was still in a package. And again, for it to be dismissed on something so small, which was your video statement, to me, that doesn't seem like big enough evidence for him to dismiss it in a way, that they can't bring it back up again. So when he dismissed it saying, well, you can never come back and bring this case back again, when actually it should have just been a new trial. It should have never been dismissed for that piece of information. So it just seems like to me, like all of them are in cahoots, whether it's they're related to people in the police force, and then, whether they got friends of people in the courtroom, they all work together. But it just seems so blatantly obvious that even the judge is being ridiculous about it. And like you said, now the district attorney is the one that's supposed to be charging him. And I think you said something very interesting that I want to point out to the people. You said that you were there as a witness, right? It's the state that's charging him. So I need people to understand that when you are in the court of law, even if the crime happened to you, you are not there to get per se your justice. What you're there is to be a witness to the fact that someone broke the rules of society, and the state is holding them accountable for breaking their rules, and they're using you, the victim, as a witness to testify that they broke those rules. If that makes sense to anybody, that's really how it works out and how they talk about it and see it in the court of law. And so, again, I just think that it's crazy that the district attorney, he doesn't seem like he wanted to even win the case, because why would you be attacking or, your own witness? And then why are you not refuting the things that are being said? Like, you may have said things on social media, but so what? You were speaking out about your justice and what happened to you and how you're being harassed. Like, I don't even understand why that was even something that was relevant in the case. He should have been objecting the whole time. Like, there's no relevance. Yes, he was speaking about his injustice, but why can't he do that, right? So for the fact that he let them do that and he was not, going against those things. I mean, to me, it just seems obvious that it's a setup for everybody, that's involved in this.
Well, I will say this. So just to speak on a few things that you said. One, the judge actually listed the reason for him dismissing the case was due to, of course, the state, which is the DA's office, and I'll explain that later, and the Brookhaven Police Department intentionally withholding evidence. But he said it basically violated the rights of the defendants and exposed them to double jeopardy. So, you know what I'm saying? Basically, what he told Black people everywhere, or, me, because, I'm whoever's standing with me, but is the rights of the defendants is more important than the rights of the victims and stuff like that. That's basically what happened. And the crazy part is, I'm trying to understand why would he dismiss it due to that? Basically saying they didn't get a fair and speedy trial when they were the one originally asking for the mistrial in the first place. So how does it even make sense?
Double jeopardy, though, is when you've actually gone all the way through trial and you've been found not guilty of something, and then they try and try you again. Since the trial didn't go through its fullness, they've never been convicted or, you know, found innocent or guilty of anything. So I'm not even understanding how that's double jeopardy. That's
Yeah, I ain't understand that either. And all right, so two more things I want to add. So the DA that was over the case when it went to trial is D Bates. He's a completely different DA from the new DA. He just admitted in an article the other day that he knew that they didn't have all the evidence, but they still went to trial anyway. Like he admitted that in the article.
So the district attorney at the time that was trying the case, he knew he didn't have all the evidence and moved forward.
That's what he said out of his own mouth. Still proceeded to move forward. And then the crazy part is when the evidence was brought up in court, he was acting like he was so surprised. Oh man, you told us, you gave us everything. You knew the whole time. They just all lies. The new DA, his name is Brandon Adams. I'm not gonna bash the new DA. I would speak facts though. The new DA, he didn't reach out to me once they changed offices. I had to reach out to them. Once we got in a meeting, I asked them why didn't they reach out to the family. They instantly started lying. They told me they were trying to reach out to me the day that we had the trial to decide if we were going to concede the case or not. Untrue. My mom went to the back and talked to them. They could have told her about it immediately then. They didn't. Secondly, I had asked him, has he ever heard of my case? He says he's never heard of it until it came across his desk, but he was the assistant DA of that district though. You know what I'm saying? And it was national news. And this is a very small town. So, and also he was more concerned about what my people, like my mom, some of the activists that were with me and stuff like that, were saying about him on social media than actually receiving justice. Because I actually called and tried to get them to appeal the case, the dismissal afterwards. And this is exactly what he won't meet with me no more. He won't even talk to me. So I can't get in contact with him. I'm gonna talk to his assistant. But this is exactly what his assistant told me. Well, this isn't the reason, but he's been saying some of the things that your mom and people like that have been saying about him on Facebook. I said, and unquote. And I said, okay, so if that isn't the reason that he doesn't want to appeal it, why does he not want to appeal it? She told me to hold on. She came into the phone. I'm not sure what she said after that, but we ended up getting off. But this man is more the new DA. I'm not speaking about the old one. The new DA is more concerned about what people are saying about him online rather than getting actual justice for the victim. And the last thing I want to add to that is also, if the first DA knew that they didn't have all the evidence, the second DA also knew that they didn't have all the evidence. When he was chastising Vincent Fernando, and he was telling him, you should have had all the evidence regardless if you knew about it or not. So we got to hold y'all to that same standard. If y'all knew y'all didn't have the same all the evidence, the same way you told him that you should have knew regardless, you should have knew regardless and did your job as well. So it's hypocrisy at its finest for one. It's racism, and it's just like the system is terrible though.
Absolutely. I mean, all of that sounds ridiculous because even him not wanting to appeal it, you don't like people talking about you online. That's not a legal reason, like, to actually do that. And so I feel like the higher government need to come in now at this point and need to investigate all of them, because I'm telling you, right, I went to school for criminal justice, and when you get a bachelor's degree and you go a little further, I had to take a lot of law classes and things of that nature. And the things that I am hearing, this is not legal, some of the things that they're saying and doing. So, I'm glad you do have a new attorney and that you are going to continue to fight. I hope that in this, your attorney can get some better answers for you, because the things that I'm hearing, even with the double jeopardy or their rights, is ridiculous. The reason for the mistrial, okay, if they want to go along with that, they might get away with that. But to say you're not going to then come back and try it again, that piece of evidence is not enough to throw it out and say we're never going to come back and do this again. And then just the reaction of the district attorney, well, I don't like the way you talk about me online. That's not how we do stuff. That's legally not how things are done. So, I think they need a wake-up call and maybe need to understand. These are the type of people we have in our court systems. That's crazy to me that they can just play with people's lives like this because of however they feel. 10 tell me at this point, so we're still moving forward. I know for as much as you can say, you're still moving forward. What are we looking, to do in that vein? Are we civilly suing somebody? Can you hold FedEx liable for any of their actions? Like, where are we with any of this?
I'm actually I still have a civil lawsuit against FedEx currently.
Okay.
I'm not sure how they'll play out. It may not go in my favor, but I also have a civil lawsuit against the cases as well, and I am trying to sue them civilly. I'm also, since I have new lawyers and stuff now, we're trying to reach out to the DA and ask that he appeal it. We have a Mississippi statute. I'm not going to mention it, but he should be able to appeal the case. Like, it's just too many like valid reasons for him to appeal it. Is no way he shouldn't appeal it. And this is not like a legal thing. It's my personal opinion. I think he should be able to appeal it from what I understand about the law and things of that nature. But we just hoping that he'll appeal it. If not, I don't even know what I'm doing next, meet you. But I'm not letting it go though. Like they want this to go away so bad. They want the eyes off of them, but like, nah, it's not going nowhere.
Well, I would say that we will wait for your call, but between you and your attorney, when you get to that point, I want you to know that the first time, the way that we got them to even, do what they were supposed to do, even though they went ahead, it was like they just did it to kind of get everybody to be quiet because they had a plan for it not to work out in your favor anyway. I think this was their plan the whole time. But just know that we're here with you. So, if I got to get some folks together, we'll be right down there with our foot on some people next. We will make phone calls. Like, do we need to go to the next step? Do we need to bother the governor? Do we need to, call somebody in the, the DOJ? Because, when we were down in Mississippi for some of the other cases we have, there is a whole department now because of the goon squad there who are actually all related, and they did some horrific things, and they are all being looked at now by the Department of Justice to revamp that whole entire place. And so there's still other things that can happen. So I will say, I know in dealing with these cases a lot, whenever I get we get people that have their new attorneys and things of that nature. You got to let the attorney kind of do what they're going to do and see what happens first. But no, once your attorney give you the okay and y'all need some public pressure, we are here to give that public pressure. You know that we are. And I know there are other people that have stood with you that are still going to be there ready for that. And so we are definitely here to do that. We can flood phone calls until people get tired. For those of us that can make it there, we will come there. And for those that can't, we can definitely make phone calls. We'll make people change phone numbers every week, and we'll find the number and we'll make them change it every week if they have to. So we will let them know that we have not forgot about, the situation, and that you are not alone, and that you not only demand your justice, we demand your justice, So I just want you to know that we're here. There's a lot of people. I did a video and they were in the chat and they always ready. And they in there right now talking about ready, and so they ready for a number. They ready for some orders and what it is that we can do. And we're definitely going to do it. So know that you're not alone in that. I just would like you, before we kind of get out of here tonight, if you could, just from a perspective of, we talked about the law, we talked about what happened to you. Can you talk to me just about how this has affected your life? And in the way we talk about civil suits or even just people going to jail, but this, when people think this just happens and maybe the stress of trying to get justice, that's one thing. But in all that happened to you and all that you have been through, just talk to me, because you are a human being. And I get tired of everybody seeing our Black men as not human, or y'all so tough, nothing never break y'all, or stuff don't hurt y'all, and that you don't deserve some type of money from somebody civilly for all that you have been through, because it has caused you a whole lot of trauma. If you don't mind, just talk to me about how this has affected your life in ways that you didn't have some of these things before this happened, and what you're dealing with emotionally.
All right, so I will start here. Like, when I found out the charge was dismissed, I ain't gonna lie, I laid in the bed for a few days. I was just like, messed up about it. I was I ain't gonna lie, I cried a few times. I ain't gonna say it, I cried a few times. Right. A lot of people, I read the comments and stuff sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you, I try to stay away from it. But I see how people be talking about me in there, they don't even know me, and I ain't even do nothing for them to talk about me, but they talk about me anyway. And you know, somebody had said something about how soft this generation was, and it's crazy because I feel like I've been tough this whole time. Any interview you watch, anytime we protesting anything, like you see no emotion on my face, regardless of how I felt. Most of those times I was sad. I was like going crazy inside my head, but you wouldn't be able to tell because I got a straight face on. It looks just like you look now and stuff like that. So, you know, for me to hold that together so well and people still think I'm soft, you know what I'm saying? Really more say so it say a lot about them than they do about me. Since this incident, I've been in therapy for about 3 years now. It's one of the best experiences I ever had. Like I never knew about therapy before this incident. And it's been so amazing. Like I feel like I got a safe place I can go to. I can talk. I ain't got to worry about nobody judging me and stuff like that. You know, even if I want to cry, I can do that. That's my therapist. That's why I pay her for. Not even just that. Like we do have a connection. It's just not like a client thing. It's like she actually cares. Like, you know, you got to find those people you connect with too. I did start seeing a psychiatrist recently and stuff like that, just because my panic attacks and anxiety has gotten so bad. Like a lot of times I can't go out in public because it's just like it get overwhelming. So I take a medication every day. One is it's like Lexapro. It just keeps me calm. And then I have like an emergency medication that I take when it's just like too overwhelming and stuff like that. And like it hasn't been helping recently because like these emotions that I'm feeling from, you know, what just happened and stuff is just like too strong. So but that's a little bit what I'm going through though. I do have like problems sleeping and stuff like that. I don't really sleep too well. I'm always doing something. I'm always got something on my mind and stuff like that. It's just how you hard. Like I feel like I can't sit down no more and stuff like that because I gotta always be doing something. I always watch my back or something like that. And like believe it or not, people that ran up on me a few times too. Meet you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they see me on the news because some people be coming up to me and stuff like that. But I've been ran up on by people and everything. So it's I don't know. It's crazy though, but it's just anxiety inducing.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you are in your therapy. Somebody brought up, you know, with therapy, you could get workman's comp. He went through that with FedEx, and for a little bit they did, but then they kind of dissed him and kicked him off. They really didn't. That's why I'm hoping maybe he can get something more when it comes to them, because it's not that it's their fault that he got shot at, but then they tried to send him back out the same day, which contributed to some of his trauma. And then they really don't seem like they were fair in giving him the time or the therapy that he really needed after it happened. So that being the situation, I hope that they are liable to have to give you something, right? Because on top of all of that, you're a grown man. You got to go out, you got to work, you got to take care of yourself. And it's hard to do that on top of the depression sometimes, the anxiety and the trauma that has been caused. So it makes a normal thing that just it's hard for all of us to go out and have to get to the grind, but you have to do that on top of the other things that were left with you. And somebody owe you something. They owe you a whole lot of something. People owe you big checks and they owe you some justice, definitely. So, you know, we're going to keep fighting with you until you get it. And so, yeah. Is there anything else you want to leave with the people to remember, or anything, you know, that we can do for you now? Whatever you want to leave with the people.
I actually want to leave some with the people positive about Michi. So real quick, y'all, I can't tell y'all what Michi did for me, but she gave me one of my first interviews when this first happened. And like, that whole thing just changed my perspective on life though. It showed me that it's more to life than just, you know, working and being on people's time. Like she just really gave me an opportunity to want to better myself. And since then, like I've tried a bunch of different things, but one of the things I've been sticking with is day trading. And I would have never got into that if it wasn't for Michi though. So I just want y'all to know how much of a good person that Michi is, and what she do behind the scenes and stuff. She don't always talk about it, but yeah, Michi, yeah. So I just wanted to leave y'all with that though.
Well, thank you very much, D. And y'all don't be hitting me up talking about helping me day trade. I don't day trade, but what I did, and I'm proud of him. I'm so proud of him. What I did is we had some conversations just about things that he could do, and to look at money and things out there other than where he was, and just open up his mind to some different ways of thinking, you know, and he did. And so he went and found something that interests him, but he took that information and let it work for him, you know, because again, I teach people all kind of ways to make money and stuff, but one of the things that I do is a lot of ways. That's why I don't just stick to one. The goal is changing a person's mindset. You change your mindset, you could go out there and go get anything you want. And so we had those conversations and stuff like that. But absolutely, D. And you know, if you need anything, brother, I'm saying right here, you need anything, you know, you can always call me. If you out there struggling financially, I don't care, call us. I would do a cash, we would do a cash app party. I promise you. And when I say anything, I mean, anything, D. You ain't got to just call me for updates on your case or for an interview or something. If there's anything we could do for you or your wonderful mother, like she right there along with you, and she was the one in court. If y'all seen the news clip when they dismissed it, the woman that got mad had to get up and walk out the courtroom because she was upset. That's his mama, and she been through everything with her baby. She was right there in our first interview. And so, you know, if y'all need anything, I mean that, anything, D, you call me. Okay?
Yes, man. I appreciate
How
it.
old are you, D? Tell people how old you are.
I'm 27 now. I was 24 when it happened. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I felt like a baby when it happened. I feel like a man.
You've grown up a lot, absolutely. I've seen the growth. You were, I mean, this was 3 years ago, right? 24 to 27 is a big difference, but you're still a wonderful young man, and I am just amazed by your strength. You know, you have a quiet spirit. You really do when everybody meets you, but there is a strength in you that this has also brought out as well. And so I'm proud of you to continue fighting because you've had to come up against so much. And even now, you know, most people will be discouraged, but every time a roadblock get in your way, you're just ready to fight and know that. And I'm sure you know this because you haven't been fighting alone all this time. You got plenty of people willing to fight with you. So we love you, D, and we're going to be with you all of the way.
I appreciate it. Me too. Thank you for having me. Let me tell my story too. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. Anytime if you got any updates, we need to update the people. You could come up and update them yourself for a few minutes if you need to, or you can give me the information and I will update them. You are always welcome in my platform, at my home, on my phone, whatever. D, we family.
I'm gonna hit you on something too, Misha. I definitely want to see y'all soon.
All right. Well, you take care. Thank you for coming up here, and I will talk to you soon, D.
All right. Thank you.
All right. All right, everybody. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in. And this was the point of having this conversation with D. He is a wonderful person. I really, I mean, we work with a lot of people, and I can't say that about everybody has their own story, and I have my own feeling about everybody that we kind of work with, you know. But he's one of the youngest people that we have worked with these cases that come about. You know, some of them we've had a young case we are working and trying to help the young lady, if y'all don't remember, that was found hanging from a tree in Orlando. You know, her sister is still looking to get that justice. That story will actually be on MX Network for Unjust 2. I'm finishing up the last minute editing. You know, we get close to these people because we have to help them. Like even the girl in Orlando, her sister gave me her cell phone. So I have this woman's cell phone so I could get all the information out of it for y'all and to be able to look in it, see her videos and her thoughts and just her last days. Like you don't get to do that and not feel some way with these people. And I will tell you for the story in Orlando, for the young lady that was found hanging in the backyard from a tree, somebody recorded that and sent the video to her mom and them. And she gave me the video, and this will be on MX Network for part of that reason. But she asked that we show y'all, because the way her sister is there hanging just don't seem right either. So y'all got to see it to see what she's talking about. And, you know, most of the time we keep those things private for the sake of the family, but her sister would like us to show everything. And so, you know, all of these stories are very touching. I'm glad that D lived to tell his story, because so many of these cases that we deal with, it's their family telling it because they didn't make it. They didn't make it. So with that said, y'all, this was a quick show tonight. So the purpose was to get that story out there. I wanted to let him tell the story. So y'all please share this video. Somebody said it was a game mode, so maybe it's a game mode, but I want to see these views. You go up later. I want to see that y'all come and watch this. This is the important stuff, y'all. We have a lot of conversations, but if we get to, you know, the Black community and what it is that we're supposed to be doing, like this is the stuff that really matters, y'all. So share this video, share this story so that his story can be told and you can hear from his words and other people can know what's going on, right? This is in Mississippi. There's all kind of cases going on, but let's make sure that people know about his story. Everybody does not know about it. And if they remember it, it was 3 years ago. So maybe they don't know the update. They don't know everything that's going on with it. So y'all make sure y'all share this with somebody. I will definitely keep everybody updated with Dee's story and let y'all know what he needs from us. We may be out there again. If we need to show up, I will let everybody know. And if you're in the area, you can come and show up and, you know, put some foots on some necks right along with us. Of course, if we have numbers for y'all to call and you can't make it out, everybody can do something, right? We'll give you a phone number. If nothing else, make a phone call, right? We also have our call to action system that we can write an email so we know exactly what his attorney and him want us to say, and you can just sign the email. I will give everybody the site to go to, the link that I have for the call to action system, and you guys can just sign it, state who you are, and just the state and city you're in. And the reason we do that is because then they realize all the different places that people are saying something, and lets them know that we have eyes on you across this country, not just, you know, right here in the place where it happened to him. And so we will keep everybody updated on all of that. So y'all stay tuned. Shout out to the real MVPs tonight is y'all, because y'all tuned in. Y'all tuned in. A lot of y'all was like, Michi, we're going to be there to hear this story. I've been doing this long enough to know these are not the videos that gets the views, but they're the videos that should get the views. So for all of y'all that showed up and was like, Michi, we ready. We're going to be there. And y'all here, thank you for showing up. Not for me, but for Brother D'Monterrio. All right. I want to say thank you. Shout out to Benji. Hey, Benji. I love you too, Benji. I got to call you. I ain't talked to you in a minute. You know, we had a show the other night and we was on for 5 hours. You're going to have to join us again. When we do our show next week, you know, Trump will be the president and everything. You know, we're going to have a lot to talk about on that live when I have people come up. So you're going to have to come in and join us, Benji. We're going to do it on the Saturday. Because you was on the last one and you stayed up till the sun came up with us. And Benji said, I got to go because I got to go to work. You ain't even getting no sleep. But thank you for that donation. I love you back, Benji. Happy New Year to you too. All right, everybody. Y'all be good. Be safe. Kiss your loved ones. Hug your kids. Because you never know when some shit going to happen, especially if they Black. The world is crazy and a lot is going on, y'all. We are going to have a show. I want to talk to y'all. There's supposed to be a real Arctic cold that's coming across the nation soon here, and I want to talk to you about that because remember we talked about the Simpsons. Well, the Simpsons actually did a show about it, and it's crazy what they say is going to happen. So I want y'all to be ready. Do not be in freezing weathers, y'all, and do not have power and can't get warm. The cold will kill you. Do you understand me? Do you hear me? If the power go out and you have no heat, the cold will kill you and your children, okay? Hypothermia will set in and your ass will get tired and y'all will go to sleep and you will never wake up again. So we got enough in this world gunning for you, especially if you Black. Let's not get taken out by no weather, okay? So anyway, we're going to get into a lot of conversations. Y'all going to see me a lot this week because I have a lot to talk about. So with that said, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. Shout out to everybody in the boot camp. I will see you guys tomorrow. We got class at 7 o'clock, and then after that, I'll be live, okay? So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Y'all stay safe, and y'all stay Black and strong, and take care, all right? I love y'all to life.